Working on railway equipment is a demanding profession. Not only must you, the worker, be skilled in inspection and repair of locomotives, cars, and equipment, but you must also be knowledgeable about rules and regulations designed to ensure safety and quality in the workplace. This videotape program will look at the Blue Signal Rule and its application to railroad workers. In this program, we will look at and discuss safety around moving equipment, definitions specific to the Blue Signal Rule, application of the Blue Signal Rule for different situations, and alternate methods of Blue Signal compliance. Your first responsibility to yourself, the public, and your company is to work safely. When working around moving equipment, you must expect equipment to move on any track in either direction at any time. You must be sure before you start any task that rolling equipment will not be able to come into contact with you or the equipment you are repairing or inspecting. The precautions that you take must be fail-safe in nature. That is, they must ensure that even if there is a mechanical or human failure, you are still protected. Title 49 of the Code of Federal Regulations deals with transportation. Part 218, Subpart B, sets the minimum requirements for the protection of railroad employees engaged in the inspection, testing, repair, and servicing of rolling equipment, whose activities require them to work on, under, or between such equipment, and subjects them to the danger of personal injury posed by any movement of such equipment. Compliance with the federal regulations and company policy is mandatory and a condition of employment. These rules and regulations are designed to prevent your injury. No job is so important, no service so urgent that you cannot perform them safely. Any person who violates any requirement of Part 218 or causes the violation of any such requirement is subject to a civil penalty of at least $500 and not more than $11,000 per violation, except that penalties may be assessed against individuals only for willful violations, and where a grossly negligent violation or a pattern of repeated violations has created an imminent hazard of death or injury to persons, or has caused death or injury, a penalty not to exceed $22,000 per violation may be assessed. In order for you to clearly understand the rules, you must be familiar with the definitions of terms used in the Code of Federal Regulations. Worker means any railroad employee assigned to inspect, test, repair, or service railroad rolling equipment or their components, including brake systems. Members of train and yard crews are excluded, except when assigned such work on railroad rolling equipment that is not part of the train or yard movement they have been called to operate, or been assigned to as utility employees. Utility employees assigned to and functioning as temporary members of a specific train or yard crew are excluded only when so assigned and functioning. Testing does not include visual observation made by an employee positioned on or alongside a caboose, locomotive, or passenger car. Servicing does not include supplying cabooses, locomotives, or passenger cars with items such as ice, drinking water, tools, sanitary supplies, stationery, or flagging equipment. Effective locking device, when used in relation to a manually operated switch or derail, means one which is vandal resistant, tamper resistant, and capable of being locked and unlocked only by the class, craft, or group of employees for whom the protection is being provided. Rolling equipment includes locomotives, railroad cars, and one or more locomotives coupled to one or more cars. Blue signal means a clearly distinguishable blue flag or blue light by day and a blue light by night. When attached to the operating controls of a locomotive, it need not be lighted if the inside of the cab area of the locomotive is sufficiently lighted so as to make the blue signal clearly distinguishable. Switch providing access means a switch which, if traversed by rolling equipment, could permit that rolling equipment to couple to the equipment being protected. Car shop repair track area means one or more tracks within an area in which the testing, servicing, repair, inspection, or rebuilding of railroad rolling equipment is under the exclusive control of mechanical department personnel. Controlling locomotive means a locomotive arranged as having the only controls over all electrical, mechanical, and pneumatic functions for one or more locomotives, including controls transmitted by radio signal if so equipped. It does not include two or more locomotives coupled in multiple, which can be moved from more than one set of locomotive controls. Utility employee means a railroad employee assigned to and functioning as a temporary member of a train or yard crew, whose primary function is to assist the train or yard crew in the assembly, disassembly, or classification of rail cars or operation of trains. Group of workers means two or more workers of the same or different crafts assigned to work together as a unit under a common authority, and who are in communication with each other while the work is being done. Locomotive means a self-propelled unit of equipment designed for moving other railroad rolling equipment in revenue service, including a self-propelled unit designed to carry freight or passenger traffic or both, and may consist of one or more units operated from a single control. Locomotive servicing track area means one or more tracks within an area in which the testing, servicing, repair, inspection, or rebuilding of locomotives is under the exclusive control of mechanical department personnel. Main track means a track other than an auxiliary track extending through yards or between stations, upon which trains are operated by timetable or train order or both, or the use of which is governed by a signal system. Blue signals displayed in accordance with the regulation signify that workers are on, under, or between rolling equipment. When the blue signal is displayed, the protected equipment may not be coupled to or moved, and other rolling equipment may not be placed on the same track so as to reduce or block the view of a blue signal. Rolling equipment may not pass a displayed blue signal. Utility employees and one-person crews must also use blue signal protection under certain circumstances which are detailed in 218.22 and 218.24. Blue signals must be displayed in accordance with the regulation by each craft or group of workers prior to their going on, under, or between rolling equipment. and may only be removed by the same craft or group that displayed them. Let's take a look at how the blue signal rule is applied on main tracks. When workers are on, under, or between rolling equipment on a main track, a blue signal must be displayed at each end of the rolling equipment, and if the rolling equipment to be protected includes one or more locomotives, a blue signal must be attached to the controlling locomotive at a location where it is readily visible to the engineman or operator at the controls of that locomotive. When emergency repair work is to be done on, under, or between a locomotive or one or more cars coupled to a locomotive, and blue signals are not available, the engineman or operator must be notified and effective measures must be taken to protect the workers making the repairs. The operator must be notified specifically what work is going to be performed.
Requesting 3-step protection. I need to go in between the locomotives to remove some track debris. Over.
The worker must wait until the operator puts the generator field switch in the off position, the reverse lever in neutral, sets the brakes, and confirms that he has taken all measures necessary to ensure that the rolling equipment will not move while work is being performed. In some circumstances, this may even necessitate setting handbrakes.
Gary Engineer Smith on train ABCD, locomotive 384 at CP5. I have set the brakes, centered the reverser, placed the generator field in the off position. 3-point protection is applied. I will not move the equipment. You have permission to work on the locomotive. Over.
Only the immediate supervisor or the worker who provided the protection may discontinue it or give a signal to move, and then only after making sure that all employees involved have been informed and are in the clear. Special care must be taken when working on any tracks. Even if the equipment you are working on is properly protected, trains on adjacent tracks will be traveling at normal speeds. If you inadvertently foul an unprotected track and a train is moving on that track, you could be seriously injured or killed. Expect equipment to move on any track in either direction at any time. Now we'll take a look at blue signal on other tracks. CFR 218.27 covers workers on tracks other than main tracks. A blue signal must be displayed at or near each manually operated switch providing access to that track. Each manually operating switch providing access to the track on which the equipment is located must be lined against movement to that track and locked with an effective locking device, and the person in charge of the workers must have notified the operator of any remotely controlled switch that work is to be performed and have been informed by the operator that each remotely controlled switch providing access to the track on which the equipment is located has been lined against movement to that track and locked. The operator may not remove the locking device unless he has been informed by the person in charge of the workers that it is safe to do so. The operator must maintain for 15 days a written record of each notification which contains the following information: the name and craft of the employee in charge who provided the notification, the number or other designation of the track involved, the date and time the operator notified the employee in charge that protection had been provided, and the date and time the operator was informed that work had been completed, and the name and craft of the employee in charge who provided this information. If rolling equipment requiring blue signal protection is on a track equipped with one or more crossovers, both switches of each crossover must be lined against movement through the crossover toward the rolling equipment. And the switch of each crossover that provides access to the rolling equipment must be protected with a blue signal and locked. If the rolling equipment to be protected includes one or more locomotives, a blue signal must be attached to the controlling locomotive at a location where it is readily visible to the engineman or operator at the controls of that locomotive. Now we'll take a look at alternate methods of blue signal protection. CFR 218.29 covers alternate methods of protection. The following methods for blue signal protection may be used in a locomotive servicing track area. When workers are on, under, or between rolling equipment in a locomotive servicing track area, a blue signal must be displayed at or near each switch providing entrance to or departure from the area. Each switch providing entrance to or departure from the area must be lined against movement to the area and locked with an effective locking device. A blue signal must be attached to each controlling locomotive at a location where it is readily visible to the engineman or operator at the controls of that locomotive. If the speed within this area is restricted to not more than 5 miles per hour, a derail capable of restricting access to that portion of a track within the area on which the rolling equipment is located may be used when positioned at least 50 feet from the end of the equipment to be protected by the blue signal. When locked in a derailing position with an effective locking device, and when a blue signal is displayed at the derail. A locomotive may be moved onto a locomotive servicing area track after the blue signal has been removed from the entrance switch to the area. However, the locomotive must be stopped short of coupling to another locomotive. A locomotive may be moved off a locomotive servicing area track after the blue signal has been removed from the controlling locomotive to be moved and from the area departure switch. If operated by an authorized employee under the direction of the person in charge of the workers, a locomotive protected by blue signals may be repositioned within this area after the blue signal has been removed from the locomotive to be repositioned and the workers on the effective track have been notified of the movement, and blue signal protection removed for the movement of locomotives must be restored immediately after the locomotive has cleared the switch. The following methods for blue signal protection may be used in car shop repair track areas. When workers are on, under, or between rolling equipment in a car shop repair track area, a blue signal must be displayed at or near each switch providing entrance to or departure from that area, and each switch providing entrance to or departure from the area must be lined against movement to the area and locked with an effective locking device. If the speed within this area is restricted to not more than 5 miles per hour, a derail capable of restricting access to that portion of a track within the area on which the rolling equipment is located may be used when positioned at least 50 feet from the end of the equipment to be protected by the blue signal, when locked in a derailing position with an effective locking device, and when a blue signal is displayed at the derail. If operated by an authorized employee under the direction of the person in charge of the workers, a car mover may be used to reposition rolling equipment within this area after workers on the affected track have been notified of the movement. When workers are on, under, or between rolling equipment on any track other than a locomotive service track, car repair track, or a main track, a derail capable of restricting access to that portion of the track on which such equipment is located will fulfill the requirements of a manually operated switch when positioned no less than 150 feet from the end of such equipment, and each derail must be locked in a derailing position with an effective locking device, and a blue signal must be displayed at the derail. Use common sense. If the work being done requires you to foul other tracks, apply blue signal protection to the adjacent tracks. Take whatever precautions are necessary to perform the task safely. When in doubt, ask your supervisor for advice on the best way to apply blue signal protection. Permanently mounted derails must be kept locked at all times, whether they are in the derail position or open. If they are not locked, unauthorized personnel or trespassers may apply them, causing injury or equipment damage. Let's review the points we've covered. The blue signal rule is designed for your protection. Compliance with the blue signal rule is mandatory and a condition of your employment. The rule defines terms used in conjunction with applying blue signals. We looked at how the blue signal rule applies to main tracks, tracks other than main tracks, locomotive servicing tracks, and car repair tracks. No job is so important, no service so urgent, that you cannot take the time to perform your duties safely. Expect equipment to move on any track in either direction at any time. This program has only covered the most common applications of the blue signal rule. Before starting any work, consult your supervisor and the Code of Federal Regulations for the specific blue signal application that applies to your equipment, track, and work circumstances. If your company operating or safety rules are more stringent or different in any way than the examples you have seen in this video, your company rules take precedent. Thank you for your attention and your cooperation.